Before that, he worked as a partnership finance lead and finance manager at Save the Children. He also worked as a finance stroke tax roles at Vodafone Uganda and Alliance One International, and also worked as a consultant stroke project manager with Imprint Uganda Limited. He also trained Total Uganda, National Water, and Barclays Bank. He also lectures CPA courses for ICPAU and trains SMEs on accounting systems. As a coach or speaker, and that's where Coach Samuel Ibanda comes in, coaching and mentorship, that is personal finance, career development, LinkedIn strategy, business development. Then training, he trains in finance for non-finance managers, NGO, grants management, culture change, emotional intelligence, and teamwork. Speaking, he speaks at conferences, corporates, colleges, churches, personal finance, branding. He's also spoken at MOOCs, Rotary Clubs, Global CPA Summit USA, and he runs Transformational Professionals Club. And he also did a podcast on Spotify and also writes on Medium. And he did a set on how to start with low or no capital. Recognition was in 2019 as the best male employee at Save the Children Eastern Region, and also the nominee for Young Accountants Awards by ICPAU. Thank you. That was Coach Samuel's CV. I hand over back to our host, Navukenya Josephine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, David, for that beautiful introduction. Coach Samuel, disclaimer, that CV was gotten from Google when we asked Google who is Coach Samuel. So if anything has been shared, and it's not from your CV, that is what Google says when it gets to Coach Samuel. Yeah. Thank you so much. Over to you, Coach Samuel.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm here trying to smile a bit as I was listening to the profile, and I was trying to check my LinkedIn to make sure that my LinkedIn is not what David is reading. And somehow I could not see some things there on my LinkedIn, but it's interesting that that is what Google has been able to capture of me. And yes, whatever has been read is part of the journey that I've gone through. Of course, I've evolved over time, and I've also not shared certain things with Google, so Google may not know much. But above everything, for this session, I want to say that I'm human, and I was also once a student. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a friend, very passionate about mentorship and helping other people grow. And I should say that I'm so much glad that I was given this opportunity to come and share about what I've been able to learn and how some of you also can be able to position yourself, especially those that are either at university or just finished recently. So in a nutshell, that is what I can really say, Josephine. I don't know. Back to you for now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Coach Samuel. Yeah, we are ready to receive you, and we can't wait to learn from what you have for us.
Okay, great. So welcome once again, and thank you so much for coming through. A lot of expectations that came through from the registration, and I just want to appreciate whoever has come through. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And I'm just going to share from a personal story. As I was trying to prepare for this, I asked myself, do I need to get into slides? And then I understand that some of you are tired of those slides, maybe because you've gone through university and most of your classes have been around. So I didn't want to really bore you. So I want to share from my personal story, such that we can be able to pick some things here and there, but also as I try to answer in regarding to the questions that came through within the registration. So in the chat box, feel free to tell me where you're joining from. I see a number of common faces here and there. Yeah, in case there is anything that you may not have captured in the Excel regarding what you expect, then you can be able to include it here. But basically what I'm going to share is something that comes from this. So my name is Coach Samuel Ivanda, and as indicated to you, I'm an accountant by profession. I graduated in 2015. It's been a while. Sometimes when I now reflect that it's now about 11 years, then I feel I'm getting older every day, seeing people like Josephine that are just going to graduate. But nevertheless, it's the journey that you're getting on. So from university, one of the things that I would say is, when I was at university, I had a lot of anxiety of what comes after university. And this, even at that time, just like it is at this time, finding a job was not a walk in the park. And I remember how I got to understand about finding a job, how hard it was first while I was looking for my internship. I remember walking to URA, UBOS, the ministries, wherever they will tell you a lead, you drop your letter. Of course, the letters were really available, and the university would give you the copies that you really want. But one of the things that really, I would say, while I was looking for internship, even just getting a slot for somebody to even call you was not really, really easy. But yeah, of course, we went through that journey. And even leaving university, for you to even look for a job, you had this anxiety of, will I find a job? Because you're quite many, every year over, let's say, several students are graduating, but the jobs are not, if the jobs cannot even take on maybe 20% or even 30%. But the question is, what happens with the rest of the people? So when I thought about, when I was being invited for this topic and they asked me, what would you like to share? I said, I want to share about the skills that somebody who is leaving university may need, because at the end of the day, and some of these skills, I want you to say that these are skills that you develop while you are actually still at university. You don't need to walk out of university and start to prepare to get these skills. So I've just tried to break this down in a framework. And if you have your pen and notebook, I would encourage you to note this as I share. So I'm just going to share the framework, and I'll share how I used this as an individual through my life and through my career, and how have they been helped. So I'm going to use a framework, which is I'm going to call Prepare Framework, the Prepare Framework. So because this is something that is designed for students who are transitioning. You see, every student, even if you're in second year or you're in first year, you need to be thinking about what's your next journey. Where are you going? So the first P that is on a framework Prepare is the aspect of personal brand. Now, I'm starting immediately into personal branding because This is one of the underrated skills that maybe the course unit, if I'm to remember the course unit that taught us about something about branding, maybe it was marketing. And that is because I did BCom, so somehow marketing was part of the course units. But I know there are some people that may not have even studied about personal branding or even just the interfering with the word branding itself. But one of the things I will come to tell you that in this world that is now with technology, with a lot of competition, personal branding has now become very important. That people need to know you even before you get into the rooms. I'll tell you, I've not met David, I've not met Josephine, but I already have an impression about them. So personal branding, especially now through the online systems, it has helped us get into rooms we may never get into even physically as individuals. So as a student, one of the things you need to strive to do is, how do I make myself stand out of the rest? What are some of my unique attributes? What is that I'm going to leverage on that the world will know me for? Because you see, well at university, you're quite many. When you do your last exam, you depart, you get off the system that you've been part. Everyone goes in different directions. Now ask yourself if at all your fellow students had joined an organization. Let's say they have joined an organization like maybe PwC, and they're telling them, so we've joined, you're 5 of you, but we need 10. We need an addition 5. Do you have any of your friends that you think are so good at what they do that you think can be recommended, that you can recommend to be part? If somebody is on the other side of making the decision whether to recommend you or not, they're asking themselves, can I trust David? Can I trust Sarah? Can I trust Josephine? What are some of those things that they have done well at university that makes me feel comfortable that if I recommend them, they will not disappoint me? So personal branding is beyond just having a LinkedIn account. Personal branding is how do people perceive you? Have you taken on any leadership? Even if it's even within your group, are you the person who is just called to sign on, let's say, on the coursework, or you're somebody who even puts in time? If it's in class, are you somebody who does not just sit on your answer, on your knowledge, but you're somebody who shows up and raises up your hand and shares your views, who brings initiatives that bring your class together? All these things are very important, because at the end of the day, these days, one of the key things they ask for is experience. And I'll tell you that while at university, I did participate in quite a number of associations. I was into ASAM, I was into Guild, and so on. These skills were very important for me, that even when I was doing interviews, when people were asking me, so tell us about your time at university, what some of the activities you got involved in, I was able to demonstrate some of these through sharing. For example, David here is the project manager of this group that has invited me. He now has certain skills that he can be able to show out. So one of the things I'll tell you is, the way to build your personal brand is you're going to get involved in activities, even if they are volunteer activities, because these are the things that build your brand. These are the things that build your perception. But also, in addition to that, one of the things I would want to tell you is your LinkedIn, is your online branding. It's not even just about LinkedIn, it's about social media. When somebody Googles your name, when I was being introduced, Josephine said, when they were trying to get my profile, that is what Google could say about me. Now imagine there's something that was wrong about what Google knows about me, what that would sound. Because one of these I've come to realize, and even before I came to this session, I was interacting with somebody who was, he's recruiting an internal auditor, and was asking me to help them sieve among the candidates that they have to find somebody who is suitable for the role. And I'll tell you honestly that one of the things that we do is we get online for us to be able to understand the character of the person that we need to be able to recommend. So personal branding is very important. So for you, make sure in terms of action, make sure that you create and of course, optimize your online presence. Start with LinkedIn. Speak about you. I know somebody will say, but I'm a student. What can I share about? Share about your experience at university. Share about the events, the learnings that you've undertaken. Josephine, I shared about her being a Rotaractor. There are lots of things that you are engaged in that you can really share that build your professional image. Even the things that you studied. You see, you're looking for a job that is accounting related. How about you tell us things that somebody who doesn't know accounting should know, that if somebody Googled about your name, Google will be able to position you as an accounting expert, okay? And then, of course, one of the other things that I would also want to share with you that in your personal branding, each one of us has a personal brand. So make sure that your personal brand is one that, one, is visible. People can be able to find you. I know some of you, like, I can just share whatever I share. Every day you're creating perception, even from just your profile photo. For you who are just less university, now you need to be able to position yourself even beyond your identity as a university student, because the world now does not just want to know that you're a student, wants to know what can you do, what have you studied. So being intentional about being visible, build your credibility. Your personal brand also leverages down to how credible are you, because you can't just have a profile out there. You need to be able to share with us the certificates, share with us the wins. You see, as they were reading my profile, you could see some things coming through. I know some people will say, but I don't want to boast. I don't want to share about my being on the dean's list. I don't want to share about my being a president of this group. I don't want to share about my public speaking certificate that I got. Share about all these things, because these are the things that make you stand out as an individual. Let's move to ARA. So remember, we're doing a prepare framework, okay? ARA, relationships. So relationships cascades down, of course, still around your personal brand, because your personal brand is getting you visible out there. But one of the things that you also need to have as a key skill as you prepare yourself for transition into the employment world is the aspect of relationships. And when I speak about relationships, what I'm trying to basically to share is that in this world, we've had it every time. People say your network is your net worth. Even you as a student, ask yourself, who is going to speak about you in the rooms where you're not? What kind of relationships are you preparing? Now, a lot of us right now, some of you as are leaving university, you're now looking, how can I build a relationship? You're starting to send people maybe LinkedIn messages and say, I want to be your friend. You're hungry of relationships. Somebody who needs relationships, they build them before they actually need them. That's very important. Even right now, either you're out of university, either you're still at university, what relationships are you building? And building relationships requires intentionality. These could be mentors that you're connecting with. This could be your former lecturers, because lecturers know about opportunities, especially for universities that receive employers who recruit through them before you even know about them. Are you building relationships that you even know, keeping people's numbers to make sure that you can check on them, keep in touch, even your fellow classmates? The professional networks, which communities are you part of? I ran the Transformation Professionals Club, and I'll tell you that the reason why I started this association was for one reason. While at university, I was part of ASAM, which is the Accounting Students Association of MOBS. And as I left university, I asked myself, so I was part of this association, but now it's all over. How can I build the similar relationships that I can also be able to leverage on in my professional network? And that's how I tapped into different networks. Of course, you find associations like CPA or ACCA. Some of these require you to have completed. But being able to tap into some of these networks like Rotaract, that is TPC, or which are the Toastmasters, all these are very important. Even alumni networks, in case your university or course has some networks around your alumni. So what you need to basically do, even as you leave university, or even during times of university, invest in attending events, because that's where you build real relationships. You see, online is good, but when you meet people in person, they are able to make a connection. You know, we are social beings, so it is much easier for me to easily connect with somebody I've met before. So invest in attending. Some of these, of course, would require you to pay something. Some of them are free. Some of them you just offer yourself as a volunteer at that event. And before you know it, you're actually benefiting. Connect with professionals. And one of these I usually share about people about building relationships is make sure that you do not come as a needy person when you're building relationships. Come with something to bring to the table. Because at the end of the day, if you are just somebody who is you've not met somebody, you've not built a relationship with them, the first thing you're reaching out is to ask for a job. Let me tell you, I receive a lot of those. But I will tell you that does not work because I don't know you. Even if a recruiter reaches out to me and says, I have this opportunity and I would like you to recommend somebody, in my mind, I can't recommend somebody I don't know. So you need to be able to build these relationships. That is why you need to make sure your presence on LinkedIn is visible. Comment on people's posts, engage with their content, reach out and celebrate them or share about what they're doing. Ask to be part of their programs. That is how you build relationships, because somebody will know you and say, I know Josephine Kenya and I can put my hand and say she will actually serve well as an accountant in your organization because they have trusted you. So that is how the game works. That is why some people are going to but I reached out this person, they're not responsive because you've not built the relationship. Very important. Let's move to the next aspect, which is employability skills. So remember, we are doing the prepare framework, and we started with personal branding, and we've touched relationships. Now we are touching the employment skills, the employability skills. Now, as somebody who is at university, one of the things that you're earning right now is your degree. But I want to share with you this evening that your degree is important, but there are certain key skills that the employer is looking out. Now, every time you see a job advert, you always see at the bottom of it, they will speak about skills and competences that are required. They'll speak about analytical skills, communication skills, customer care, critical thinking, leadership. Now, these skills, you're not going to develop them in the workplace because you've not yet gotten the opportunity. So key skills that you need to be able to develop, and again, make sure that you note some of these down because you now need to start to develop them if you do not have them. One is the communication skills, the public speaking, communication skills, because in one or the other, even if you're going to be an accountant like myself, you need a skill to be able to communicate your knowledge, your competence. If you're invited for an interview, you need key skills that are going to help you be able to deliver your message. The other is problem-solving skills. Now, you see, we're in an era of artificial intelligence. And in artificial intelligence means that, yes, artificial intelligence is going to be able to give you all the responses that you need. But it's some of these key skills like problem solving, emotional intelligence, critical thinking that are going to enable you as an individual to leverage some of these tools. Because if you can't understand problem solving, even the prompts that you're going to give AI will be confusing, will confuse AI. So you need to develop your problem solving skills. And what this means is that you need to be able to get used with situations that require you to think. Okay? Now, the other that also you need to develop, of course, is leadership. Now, whenever I speak about leadership, people look at it from leading other people. But key leadership starts with leading yourself. Now, leading yourself, one of the key skills that has been of great help to me, that I've also had to learn some of the hard way, is accountability. As an individual, if you're joining the workplace, one of the things that you need to have as an individual is personal accountability. Personal accountability means that you're going to reach work at the time when you need to reach. You have to jump out of that bed, not because you don't love the bed, but because you signed a contract that says you need to be at work by 8. You need to make sure you make that call in case you have a challenge, because you don't want people to look at you. You want to make sure that you're available as and when they need you, okay? And then one of the other key skills, of course, time management, as I've mentioned. Time is very, very important. I already mentioned about leadership. And then you also need to be able to work in teams. Teamwork, very important. I work in a Big 4 organization, and I will tell you, one of the interviews they give us is group interviews. So before you join the organization, you're subject to group interviews where they give you a case scenario of a group setting where you're going to work in groups. So you need to be able to demonstrate that. And that's a skill that you develop over time. You don't develop it one day. And let me tell you, if you are not good at working in teams, even if they put you in a team, your weakness will show up. I'll give you an example, because I've been part of some of those group interviews. So you find this person is so good. So when they come to a group interview, they want to showcase their goodness. They don't want to give an opportunity to other people. They want to override everyone. Every time they are sharing, they are speaking, like they want to be the ones that are reading the points. They don't want to be the ones that are supplementing. At the end of the day, the session ends when it's only them that have spoken. Yes, it is good for you to show yourself out there, but you need to be able to read the room to understand, okay, this is a team. Now I need to be able to work in a team. If at all somebody gives a point that I don't agree with, I can be able to respectively say or argue my point with them. All these things are very important. So the next letter is P. Remember, we are doing our prepare framework. So after we've looked at the employability skills, let's look at the next P, which is professionalism. Now, professionalism, as somebody who is a student who is entering the job market, you see what they call professionalism. You see, we have professional courses, which is like CPA, SCCA, CIM, SIPS, there's engineering, the certification, they're quite a number. So why do we have professional courses at the end of the day? The professional courses teach us the values that you need to be able to survive in the employment. Now, one of the key values that you need to be a professional is reliability. If you say I'll be available at 8 for the session, you are available. If you're not able to, you communicate in advance. You don't communicate at the hour of the session. Imagine I was supposed to have this session and I only communicated 5 minutes to Josephine that I can't make it. Josephine will be disorganized. The other is integrity. Now, I know when you enter the job market, you're going to interface a lot of access to either information, either money. I worked as an accountant in one of the organizations where I was in charge of petty cash, millions of money. And the one had the safe key. I could even go with it at home. But an aspect of integrity was very important. Even as I was an accountant, there you find somebody who is a supplier says, Samuel, what can I pay you such that you pay me my payment very fast? Integrity. What does not belong to you is not yours. Your salary is what belongs to you. Because one of the things I've had some of my fellow comrades that we joined employment with that either forged documents or stole pet cash, that their reputation just died along the way. Why? Because once news, now with social media, once news goes around that you are a thief, you'll be a thief. I spoke about accountability, very important. Make sure that you're accountable to your word, you maintain respect of each other, of the people that you find in the workplace, even your fellow colleagues. You are somebody who meets deadlines, because the deadline is a deadline. You can't have taxes to file by the 15th, and you're telling your boss on the 16th that I was not able to file the taxes. Like how? How? So all these things are very important. So make sure that you can live by your commitments. Your work ethics is not something that will doubt. I'll tell you that some of the things that are going to move you from being just an intern, an officer, to become a manager are some of these professional skills, because professionalism builds character. And it is the character that makes ways for you to the top. No one wants to work with somebody with poor character. Let's move to the next one. Remember, we're doing our prepare framework. So we are now A, which is adaptability. Now, this is one thing that I want to tell you, that as you enter into the job market as a student, you're going to interface a lot of things that are going to change. We are in a changing world. The world has never been like this, changing like the way it is today. Everything is changing. Artificial intelligence, the way Gen Zs, you who are Gen Zs, are entering the job market. You have different work methods. People are working remotely. Technology. People are now into things to do with ESG. Now we are having geopolitics. Prices are going up. There's a lot of adaptability that you need as an individual to be able to fit into the workplace. So there will be a lot of learning, unlearning, and relearning in the workplace. If there's one thing that is going to help you survive the changing world, is the continuous learning and intentionality in that learning. If they're speaking about artificial intelligence, let me tell you to you here, if you're a student who has gone through university and who is going to look for either a job or internship or whatever, if they call you for an interview and in your tell us about yourself, or anywhere in your CV there is no word AI, it's time to you to wake up. Even if it's a video that you go and a free course that you go and do online, do it and include in your CV. Let one of your key skills at least be prompting, machine engineering, like get yourself into some of those things, because that is where the world is now. The old people are scared of what artificial intelligence is doing. Now, if they are recruiting somebody and they seek some AI in it, they're like, this is the person whom we have. We need now that we need the techie savvy Gen Zs who are going to bring something. So get down to these tools, get down to ChatGPT, navigate it, get down to Gemini, get down to DeepSeek. There are lots of artificial intelligence tools, Copilot, and so on, Cloudy. All these tools are there. I encourage you to have at least a laptop or a good phone that can help you get to these skills, because at the end of the day, you can't survive. You can't survive what is coming. So adaptability. So the other one, which is the R, is resourcefulness. Now, one of the key skills that you need as an individual is you need to be resourceful. Resourcefulness means that you do not just wait for opportunities to bring themselves to you. Rather, you create those opportunities. I was chatting one of my friends. I don't know if he's on the call today. So he joined KPMG, as an intern. So he's actually here on the call. So I was telling him that make yourself useful. When you go to these workplaces, you'll find that people may not even mind you. They will not even give you work. They will not even like really think about if you leave early. But when you get into a workplace, for those that are doing internship, make yourself resourceful. It is only the resourceful people that are remembered. If you're doing internship, your mind should be down to what happens after this internship. Have I just come to do internship? Because a lot of people are recruited after their internship. Even if you're going back to university to finish your last year, your first prospect employer is where you did internship. Because this is somebody who tested, who saw what you can do. Get into the workplace and know that it is business unusual. And this means that you're not going to be just part, when you get into these workplaces and there are other interns, you feel like it is so good to be part, like to be under the ladies and gentlemen. If you are there, walk to the boss and say, is there any way I can help? Or there's this initiative that I learned about. Are you already doing it within your organization? Or there's this assignment that you gave me, but I found a better way to do it. Can I share? Do you have a minute? Do not just do things because they asked you to do. Challenge them. Share your ideas because this is what is going to make you stand out. And resourcefulness means that you're not waiting for people to tell you to do. You're doing proactive. You're taking initiatives. Okay? You're also being creative. If you get into a workplace, it's a given industry, read about that industry like very fast and see what are some of the things that relate to this industry that I can add value to. Okay? And then lastly, that I want to share with you as our last E, remember we're doing a prepare framework. I want you to have an entrepreneurial mindset. I want you to have an entrepreneurial mindset. Now, I already mentioned and said the opportunities out there are not as many as possible. You'll find cases where not everyone will get into employment. But we also have a lot of people who are so knowledgeable, who are so passionate about this whole thing of entrepreneurship. I'll tell you my example. I work at KPMG, and I've worked for organizations for the last now about 11 or 12 years. But from the time I joined university, I first opened my first business when I was just immediately I entered into the workplace. Actually, even before, even at university, in the bazaars, I would sell stationery materials. I had a shop at one of the blocks within university. So I did a lot of that. Now, one of the things you get to realize is that we are so endowed with a lot of things in our generation. Internet is here, an open space for you to be able to create a media house, create content, do a lot of things. There are lots of opportunities. Now, this entrepreneurial mindset, even if you get into the workplace, this entrepreneurial mindset is what is going to make you also become so resourceful in there, because you're going to get there, identify opportunities, play by those opportunities. Even right now, as I work, one of the things that I do is to bring in business for the company that I work for. But that all came down because I developed this entrepreneurial mindset. Some of you have skills, like you've left university with accounting skills. Why should you look for a job for the next 5 years and not deploy that skill that you've invested in 3 years to be able to earn from it? Some of you can be able to develop passions. I'm a coach and a mentor. This is not accounting that has made me come and speak to you this evening. So develop an entrepreneurial mindset, monetize that skill, start that side hustle, get into financial literacy to understand how can I create multiple income streams? Because at the end of the day, yes, the job will be there, but what is going to make you wealthy and happy and fulfilling is that passion, is that side hustle, is that you're going to do. So I just want to end it at that. For if you joined us, a little later. I just want to recap the prepare framework that I prepared for you. So I first spoke about personal branding, very important. I spoke about relationships. Note that I spoke about employability skills, and I spoke about professionalism. I spoke about adaptability. I also spoke about resourcefulness and ended with the entrepreneurial mindset. So I just want to end it at that time and invite my moderator. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Coach Samuel, for that beautiful presentation. Thank you so much. So, colleagues, join me in the chat. Appreciate Coach Samuel with those beautiful emojis. Let's clap. Let's just thank him for the beautiful presentation. Thank you so much, Coach Samuel, for the beautiful presentation that has been shared. We have been challenged to wake up. We have been in our comfort zones. I believe we have been challenged. So it's that time of the session whereby we are going in for our Q&A. If you're having a question, feel free to type that question in the chat, or feel free to raise up your hand so that you can be granted the granted the rights to share your question. So feel free to raise up your hand or type that question in the chat. I see 3 hands in the chat, so we shall first have Kathy, then Ian. Okay. Ian, then Priscilla. So Kathy, feel free.
Good evening to you all. First of all, I would like to thank Coach Samuel for the great session. I've learned a lot. And my question was mainly, I have 2 questions. The first one is about the skills, the other courses that I can take up to build my skills. I wanted to enroll for a short course, but I was confused of which course to take. I wanted to take something that can make me competitive and as well teach me something outside like class. So that is why that's a question I wanted. Like I wanted coach to help guide me on which courses would be suitable. Like besides the professional courses, I want these other courses that can be suitable for me to take up. Then another issue I have, okay, it's kind of like an issue. I sometimes tend to, okay, yes, they tell us, you have told us about working in a team. Sometimes I have that weakness of tending to think I have it all. Like I think it's like a perfectionist syndrome. I tend to think I can do everything on my own. So I don't know how best I can let go that and learn how to work with others, because I think teamwork is a basic in the outside environment, in the job environment. That is my question and my everything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Maybe before you go, Mirembe, what course did you do? Okay, Mirembe, I don't know if you're able to speak again or you don't have rights again, but you please type in the chat box. But just in general, let me assume you did maybe engineering or medicine. Okay, she did that business administration. So Mirembe, what I would encourage you in terms of what course can you do? So you saw like the courses that I just mentioned, the key skills that I just mentioned, and some of these skills I said, when you look at job adverts, and I want to use an example. Let me see, accountant jobs in Uganda. So usually every job that you see has what is called other key competences that are required. So one of the things that you can be able to leverage on is going to learn some of those things that they are actually speaking about when it comes to that kind of job. Because like I mentioned, every job does have that. So ask yourself, do I have, let me just share with you a screen here such that we can be able to learn. So let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see it? Okay, I hope you can be able to see my screen. David, are you able to see my screen or?
Yes, we are able to see it.
Okay, great. So this is a job. This is a job that was posted 1 week ago, and you can say over 100 people clicked apply. Now, before I move, okay, let me just move here. So here they were looking for bachelor's degree in accounting, finance or related field, 5 years experience in accounting. Now, there's something that they just mentioned here, Microsoft Excel and accounting software. One of the key skills, especially for people who are in finance related, this is one of the key things that I would advise you to invest in right now. In addition to artificial intelligence, do a short course in artificial intelligence and look at key skills like Excel, accounting software, taxes, how to file taxes, and all those things. And I'm glad that we have one of our trainers here, Esther Nantongo, who is experienced in some of these things. So in case you're interested, she will be able to share her number in the chat box such that you can be able to get in touch. And then she can be able to guide you on the next step forward. So you need to be able to learn some of those skills. And this is not just only that, because even when you look at some of these other jobs, because for example, when you look at this other job by, this is Simba, you see that required skills, they say auditing of accounts, budgeting, financial planning, financial controlling. So these are key skills. So if you do not have them, then ask yourself, how can I develop such skills? Okay. So I do hope that helps. And then you also asked a question around how can you learn how to work within teams? I'll tell you that you only learn how to work within teams when you work in teams. And if you just left university, you can get yourself into communities, like I mentioned, the Transformation Professionals Club, the community that I'm part of. I also mentioned like things like Rotaract. It could be church. There are environments that you need to get into that will help you develop some of these key skills. I also encourage you to study about things to do with leadership, because in leadership, you're able to learn how to lead others, how to be part of teams. Josephine here just graduated with a certificate in leadership and management. So you need to be able to look out for those key skills, like public speaking skills. This coming Wednesday, we are starting the public speaking skills classes as a TPC. All these key skills are going to make you stand out. They're not professional courses as per se, but they are courses that are going to develop your skills for the workplace. Yeah. So thank you so much for asking. I'll give, I think the next person was Ian. So Ian. So Esther shared her contact there. So make sure that you get it and chat her up and say, how can I learn QuickBooks, filing taxes, and other things? Okay. Yes, Ian. Ian, I'm giving you rights to speak.
So grateful, sir, for the opportunity to speak, and I really like to thank you for what you have shared with us. We are grateful, Mr. Ibanda. And I would also like to pass my appreciation to the moderator, Mrs. Josephine. I'm really grateful for this and other participants. I would like to ask about how best we can express ourselves without outshining our masters, because I know it's really not good to outshine the master. So how best can one shine without outshining the master? Okay, not letting the master feel intimidated. And one other thing I would like to also ask is how best can we convince, let's say, our sources of income, let's say like the parents, the guardians, the friends, and the helpers, how best can we convince them to help us with whatever we are doing? Yeah, I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Those were my questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Ian, for those two questions. I'll start with the first one. How do you not outshine your master? Now, one of the things I want to tell you is that, again, I'm going to speak from this perspective as an employer, as somebody who is in the employment sector, who has been there for a long period of time, more than you. So one of the perspectives that these other side people have on people like Gen Zs is that Gen Zs come through, they're really very aggressive. They want to work, but of course there are also challenges around it, because some people look at you as people who would not respect people, who want to challenge everything that you find. I'm just trying to share perspectives of what comes through there. And of course, it is you. That's how the generation has been built. For us, we're built as more of people who are yes people, who abide with whatever is around, and we're able to go through the tough situations. We don't ask so much. Now, how do you work with people who are so superior when you're knowledgeable? So one of the things that has worked for me, because I've also been in that phase before, you join to employment, you find people who are so superior, they do not have maybe qualifications that you have, but then you have to respect them. You don't have to. So one thing that you do is you basically, you do not sit down on your ideas as per se. You share your ideas, but you share these ideas respectively to the person. And respectively means that if you've seen somebody doing the wrong thing, you correct them in private and you share with them, not from the point of boasting that I'm better than you, but you share it from the point of, how about we look at it from this perspective? And then you also have to appreciate the fact that they need to be listened to. You know, every time somebody who is superior to you wants to feel that they are being listened to in the way you're sharing your ideas to them. So do not just bring your idea, but you bring idea with demonstration that you've understood their idea as well. And you're not just saying downplaying their idea, but you are making additions, respectively. Say, I appreciate where you're coming from. And I'll give you honest feedback here and say, there are cases where I thought that maybe I'm so better than my boss at something, but because they have experience, they are better than me. So do not fear to give the suggestions, give them, but give them respectively. And you also do not have to do this so much in the public because you want to shine. Employment has structures. And if somebody is your boss, if you're working through somebody who is your supervisor is more like your parent in that organization. Means that anything that you want to do, you go through them. Like, do not shine as, like I think it was Catherine who asked, how do I maintain such that I don't have to be this perfectionist person who wants to shine through every time. Some of the ideas recognize effort such that people feel like, okay, yes, you came up with the idea, but somebody refined it, somebody was able to relate it to the situation. So work through as a team and not have to be in the corridors politicking and speaking ill about your boss, how they don't know how you helped them, ABCD. You need to maintain that professional behavior within the organization. So that is what I can really say. And how can you also get the people that support you, find like the people that you are with, like your parents support what you're doing? How do you convince them? I think you convince them by results. I'll give you an example. I started doing this social media thing while I left university, after just immediately I left university. And another person would have been, you spend a lot of time on social media. But over time, because they have seen that this social media has taken me places, taken me to global stages, taken me to different TV stations, taken me to through newspapers, opened doors that I would never have even gotten into. When people start the results, they start to believe in you. If you want support on your business idea, you need to get started. People need to see you running. You can't say, I want capital to start a business. Yet there are opportunities that you can actually start without capital. If it's product businesses, you buy item, you even find a supplier, take pictures and share on social media platforms. When people order, you go get from the supplier and deliver, get the money, go pay the supplier, take your commission. Find ways of how to do things that makes the other person feel like you've already started to take a step yourself. You're serious, you're committed. And once they see that commitment in you, I believe they will support you. Yeah. So I'll take another. I don't know. Moderator, who is the next one? I've forgotten about the order. I don't know if it was Jovia.
And it was Priscilla.
Okay, I don't know if Priscilla still has a question. Priscilla Balikudembe. Priscilla Balikudembe, do you still have a question?
Yes, I do.
Please proceed.
Well, thank you very much for availing us the tactics that you have laid out for us. I also want to appreciate the coordinator and managing director for enabling us to get this opportunity to hear from you. My question is that where you talked about public speaking, analytical thinking, and problem solving. I want to know, for some of us who are doing courses such as law, do I need to break that down while I'm applying it in my CV, or is the legal career self-sufficient to show that I have all these skills, such as public speaking, problem solving, analytical thinking, research, and all that? Is it self-sufficient, or is it very necessary that I must indeed break it down in the skills that I have on a CV? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Priscilla. And I like the honesty in your question and bring in your profession. So as you were asking, I randomly went to Google to look for law jobs in Uganda. And so there is this opportunity for legal intern. Again, I know there are people who don't believe in online jobs, but I want to put it, I want to share here and say I've gotten like 90% of my jobs through online searches. So if you're looking for a job, online is your first. So there's this role, which is legal intern at DIT Advocates. So it says you need to have an LLB, graduate from law school that is approved by National Council of Higher Education, postgraduate, maybe from, okay, this is from a bar course. Then they bring these key skills, and I just want to read them. Intermediate level knowledge in Microsoft Office, ability to accomplish complex tasks with minimum supervision, excellent interpersonal and communication skills. And then they also speak about ability to work for long hours while paying attention and be a person of high integrity. Now, there's a reason why they have included those skills within that job. And I'll give you an example. I'll tell you that well, people are shortlisting these days because of technology, they use systems. So when they use systems, they put your CV in the system and also put the job description in the system. And then they give a prompt and say, sieve out these 100 CVs and give me the 5 best matches that suit this job description. Now, if your CV does not have anything to do with Microsoft Office, it's a mark off. If your CV does not have communication skills, interpersonal skills, your marks are getting down, because whoever has included Microsoft Office communication skills within their CV will rank excellently. So you need to be able to include these things within the CV. That is the reason, because another person would have just said, I need somebody who did law. But the reason why they went on to list the other qualifications is a very important aspect that shows you that those are important. So you need to be able to include them. Are we together, Priscilla? Okay, I believe so. So make sure that you're putting your CV, and I'm going to share with you one of the CV templates that I have here. So this is a CV template, and you can see it has the professional summary. So somebody goes on to intentionally include some of these things that might have been, like we saw a job for an accountant, and they were speaking about accounting software. So you need to bring it out. You don't assume that people, because you know you're an accountant, they'll know that you know accounting softwares. You need to bring down the skills and competences, that even if it's a human who is going through your CV, they can be able to see some of these things coming through. Even when it comes to your experience, somebody is also trying to see, somebody did cash flow statements. Do not leave out important information. I know people have told you your CV needs to be on one page. If it is important information that will make it go to the second page or the third page or the fourth page, it is what is going to make you stand out. So please include it. Thank you. So moderator, who is the next person? You are in charge now.
Now, shall we having Jovia, then Julie?
Okay. So I'll give Jovia my... So Jovia, you have the right to speak.
Good evening, Coach Samuel. Thank you so much. This was so fruitful. So fruitful. The prepare framework, it's now rotating in my head. I can't forget about it. I really wanted to ask about mostly and mainly about interviews. So how do we deal with bias since we are Gen Z? How do we deal with bias in these interviews? And the second question is, we were speaking of competences. How am I supposed to match with my CV physically when I'm in a room with a panel?
All right. Thank you so much, Jovia. That's a very important question. The question of how do we manage the biases because you're Gen Zs. I want to tell you that the world loves Gen Zs because at the end of the day, the workplace can't survive without you. So the biases might be there, but the world needs you. And what does this mean? It means that when you get into this workplace, demonstrate that you're not just an ordinary Gen Z, but you're a Gen Z that understands the dynamics of the workplace. And how do you understand the dynamics of workplace? You go through aspects like mentorship and coaching. And by the way, to those that are on the call, we have what we are calling the TPC Future Leaders Program that is going to help you get you employee ready. So this program is going to start in July, and it's a program that could benefit you to helping you get ready for the workplace. I'm able to share the details with you since you've registered joining this call. We'll be able to share. But back to Jovia's question, how do you break this bias? I'll give you an example. Last year, we had an interview, a group interviews, and people came through for these interviews. There were so many. I think there were about maybe, let me just give an average of around, maybe around 100. But then we wanted to only get 20 out of that 100. And I'll tell you that if you're on the side of the interview and you have 100 people who are coming through and you only need 20, means that even simple things are things that are going to make you drop some, because ideally the organization cannot employ 100 people. They only need 20. So what happens is even how you show up matters a lot. Let's just start from your dress code. I know when it comes to some people, it is okay to dress the way they like. You see, there's a reason why I've come putting on this jacket for this call, because I understand that my dress code means a lot. I could have come through in a t-shirt if I was speaking to an engineering students in the US. Maybe I wouldn't have dressed like this, but because I understand the environment that I'm in, so whoever is going for an interview needs to understand the place that I'm getting into. So how do you dress up is very important, but also how you communicate is also important, because one of the things is you need to be able to listen, and you also need to demonstrate respect. You need to demonstrate key skills that make you feel that show that you are somebody whom people can work with in simple sense. Actually, you find that there are lots of people who have first classes, they have the degrees, they have whatever. But the key thing that is needed of you, especially in the entry role, is can people work with you? And working with you means that you're not going to just argue out certain things. I'll tell you an example. The first time I was supposed to join KPMG when I was a graduate, I was invited for an interview at 8. But when I got there, the HR told me you're supposed to be at 2. Now, I was working at that time, so I'd requested my boss to allow me come through late. I didn't tell them I was going to have an interview. And here I reach and they're telling me I was supposed to be 8. I was supposed to be there at 2. Now I'm 8. I've come at 8. Now, another person would have just basically really gotten out of their mind, and the way you react, because there are situations that they put in there, even the way you're answering, the way you're demonstrating your emotional. Some people are just laissez-faire. They will just come, show up, and do whatever they need to do. They will not know that they're in a professional setting. They need to demonstrate that they're professional. You see? So all these help you reduce the bias. Okay? Very important. Now, how do you demonstrate your competencies within the interview set? Again, every time you are invited for any interview, do not make assumptions. You see, like, for example, we've just seen this job where Priscilla was trying to tell us about law. If the job is telling us that you need to be able to demonstrate excellent interpersonal communication skills, one of the things you need to know is that if they ask me, tell us about yourself, somehow I need to be able to say some of these things within my responses. I'm Samuel Ibanda. I'm a very good communicator. I'm also very proficient at Microsoft skills. All these things come through. Do not give us a lot of irrelevant information, because we are looking for somebody who is a graduate from law school, somebody with a diploma in legal, somebody with knowledge in Microsoft Office, somebody with communication skills. So as you're telling us the entire story of your tell us about yourself. Somewhere, fixing these words. And that's why I usually tell people that if you're going for an interview, one of the questions that you never miss in any interview is the question of tell us about yourself. The secret to passing in interviews is to prepare a script for that response outside the interview room, such that when you get to the interview room, you're giving something that you've practiced and gone all over. Even if they don't ask you to tell us about yourself, the same question of why do you think you're the best candidate for the job? It will be the same thing, because at the end of the day, they still want to hear the qualification, the experience, the skills that you have that make you suitable for the job. So practice. I do a lot of interview coaching for people who are going for interviews, such that you're able to practice. You know, like if you are shortlisted, means that you have the potential to take the job. Prepare as if your life depends on it. Do not lose that opportunity. Because I'll tell you, if 100 of you are going to do the interview and they only need 20 or 5, you must be exceptional. When you're getting into this interview room, you need to be asking yourself is, what is going to make me exceptional? And that is why even when you're responding to the tell us about yourself, you bring your best foot forward. I usually tell people, do not bring things that bring you down. If it's a job for accounting and they wanted CPA, do not start to say, I do not have CPA. You know, I'm just a CPA student. Speak about the competencies. Tell them I can file returns, income tax, WHT. Speak about the accounting softwares you've used, that by the time even they think about whether you CPA or not, they're already convinced you have what it takes. Yeah. I'll take Juliet's question. Juliet, I'm giving you rights to unmute.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Coach Samuel, for the insightful discussion. So, Juliet Aloya is my name. I'm a recent final year student of MUBS, awaiting graduation in January. So, I've been reading a book titled 80,000 Hours by Benjamin Todd. So the main aspect around this book is that our careers are the biggest opportunities that we have in order to create a long-term change in the world. So my question mainly is around career planning. Yeah, I mean, that's currently the stage that I'm in right now. I'm on my path to build a career. So I don't want to just work. Yeah, you know, there is working like just for the sake. I don't want to just work, but I want my work to do something that is of a long-term impact. So my question mainly is, how can young professionals like I create choose a career that is not just for popularity, or maybe they're paying something that's high. Yeah, so how can a young professional choose the right career for themselves? Thank you.
All right, that's a very brilliant question, and I want to appreciate you, Juliet. How you started, what was in my mind was, and I want to share this before I come to that. Usually on interviews, there's that question of, tell us, do you have any question for us? Now, if Juliet was part of a panel and she had come through for an interview and she started her question like the way she started, one, it would have built her credibility. The way Juliet started by telling us about the book she's reading and also the key takeaway from that alone has wowed me as a student. And again, I just wanted to comment such that this does not miss out. Make sure that even away from university, there's something you're reading. There's a course that you're doing. There's a book that you're reading, like a skill that you just earned previously. Some of you are going to get out in university, or even you are at university, but the only thing you can speak about is I do BCom, or I did BCom. There need to be more than the BCom. Now, back to your question, how do you select a career that best suits you as an individual? Now, I know we've started BCom, we've started BBA, we've done a lot of things. Even for people who are done, like, for example, BCom, you find that the people who do tax, the people who do audit, there are people who do normal accounting. Now, one thing I would tell you is, one, sometimes we take on careers because of what is available. If it is the auditing job that is available, I'll jump into auditing and do that auditing job. But one of the things that I don't do is I do not forget about what I want to do. I'll tell you that I always wanted to be a coach and mentor. But that did not limit me because I started as an accountant. Even right now, I'm doing accounting, but I'll tell you that I've evolved through. So one of the things I would encourage you is take up the opportunity that is in front of you. And it's also very easy. I've seen people join organizations. You join an organization, you get to learn into that role that you've joined through, and you can easily pitch yourself into another department, into another role. So in the early stages of your career, do a lot of exploring. I moved jobs within my first years of my career. I think I would spend like a year in an organization because I was exploring. I was trying to find something that I'm really passionate about. I'll give you an example. Say the career that is going to help you really thrive is something that you love doing, that you're not going to be pushed. You know, we did these courses because of certain circumstances. But right now, I've seen I work in an auditing firm, and we have engineers, people that did engineering, even people that did food science and technology that are now doing taxes and are doing other things. So even as we're having this conversation, I want you to think, not to limit yourself on whatever you can become because of the course you have done. I want you to look and see. I'll give an example. If I was leaving university right now, and I was entering the job market and I was trying to think about of what I can do, one of the things that I would think about is getting into technology. Why? Because right now, every profession is at a kind of a break stage because people are speaking about artificial intelligence replacing people who are employed. So asking yourself, how do I tap into? So I need to be able to get into and say, if I'm doing procurement, how do I embed technology within procurement? And this is one thing I want to tell you, whoever is here, technology should be part of what you're doing. You need to get yourself into some of these tools. I'll give an example. There's an organization I joined, and what helped me thrive in that organization was because I understood technology. And I became a champion for their system, key system in the organization, that whoever needs it would always look out for me because I became tech savvy. So in a nutshell, right now is you need to be able to balance passion and demand. What is needed in the market right now? If whoever is speaking about artificial intelligence, see how to start to walk into that kind of journey of, and if I'm into finance, how am I going to tap into to see how technology influencing finance? If I'm into law, I'm also trying to think about how do I now go into technology law? Because right now there are different things that are affecting like businesses, and people would want to sue people for law aspects that are affecting them online. Look at what is in demand and embed it with your passion, and also embed it with what people can actually pay for you. And the other thing I would say that as you also do it, you can balance through where you within your job. If you're sometimes you're going to get jobs that are not going to give you an opportunity to practice your profession or passion. So I don't want you to limit yourself. Do your passion and profession alongside your job. I've done that and I'm the happiest man. Why? Because my passion has opened doors for me that my profession could never open. So a lot that I can speak about that. But this is just the beginning of this conversation. And I believe we have the questions, a lot of things. But I and Josephine have just opened this as the beginning. We're going to have more of these conversations within our TPC Future Leaders program. This is a very structured program where we have an opportunity to ask and get direct mentorship that will really, really be able to help you. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Coach Samuel. Our president of the Rotary Club of Nakawa Mobs normally says you have done justice to that topic. So I recognize you, President Nixon. Thank you so much for joining in. Indeed, Coach Samuel, you have done justice to this topic, and I feel every single person that has asked a question their demand has been fulfilled. Thank you so much. So I will ask my colleague William to pass a vote of thanks to our guest speaker tonight. Thank you so much.
Can William put up his hand such that I give him rights to speak? And thank you, President. Rotary Club, that you're on the call. Josephine, William who? I'm trying to look for William in the
Masule.
Pardon? William, could you raise up your hand?
I think I'm unmuted. Thank you, Coach. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Josephine, for this opportunity. Hello, everyone. Yes, I hope everyone is having a good evening, and more so after this very meeting by Coach Samuel. I am Kasule George, and I'm still a student. I'm in my second year. I'm at Makerere University Business School, and I'm pursuing my bachelor's in science in accounting. It is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks to today's event. Firstly, to our very chief speaker, Mr. Coach Samuel Ibanda. Thank you so much. Thank you for honoring us with your presence. Thank you, sir. And for the insightful remarks. For the insightful remarks you have given us, more so on the skills for success and basically the life after campus. Your message on the real life and experience has given us a lot, and I'm sure everyone has benefited. We have a lot to reflect on, and personally, I think we are going to improve how we have been handling things, how we have been writing our CVs, and more so, how we have been portraying ourselves for interviews, among others. So we thank you for sharing your expertise and time. We thank you so much, Coach Samuel. I believe we have learned a great deal from representation. For example, the branding, relationships, the skills, yes, among others. Special appreciation also goes to our organizing committee, Madam Josephine, Charles. We thank you, all the members of the Vibe with Purpose. Vibe with Purpose is our small movement, but because we are actually, for me, I've just joined. I'm not that new, but we have Madam Josephine, who's our president, and Charles. We have been trying to bring in new members and help them know, and also to join such webinars so that they can prepare for life after campus. Finally, thank you to all the participants. Thank you for your attention and engagement in this meeting. I hope it has been beneficial right now and beneficial in the long run. Yes, and so I think that is what I had as a vote of thanks to our participants, to Mr. Samuel. And yes, I think I'll stop there. Thank you, Josephine. May God bless each one of you abundantly. Yes. Yes, and I hope you have a good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, George, for moving that vote of thanks to our guest speaker. Coach Samuel, we had an e-certificate that we shall be issuing to you. Actually, we had to display it on the screen while George was giving the vote of thanks, but I think, oh, it is there. It goes, certificate of appreciation is proudly presented to Coach Samuel Ibanda, CPA, in sincere recognition of your contribution as a guest speaker on the theme, Preparing for Life After Campus, Skills Every University Student Needs for Future Success. Signed by Josephine, the host, then Sentongo Charles, our Programs Director, Vibe with Purpose. Thank you so much, Coach Samuel.
Thank you, everyone. Really much appreciated for the certificate. Thank you, Kasule, for those great words. Thank you in the comment section. I can also see a lot of comments. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Josephine, for the opportunity to be part of this conversation and to be part of the Vibe with a Purpose. And also thank you, Charles Sentongo, for coordinating this from the time we set this date. And again, glad for each one of you who has made it to this point in time. I don't take anything for granted, and I would love to connect with each one of you. I know that I have connected with most of the people here. So I've shared the form for one of the programs that we're trying to prepare that you can be part of. So just filling that form, we'll be able to capture your details, and I will be able to reach out to you once this is ready. But I want to announce and say we will have another session as a starting session for our TPC Future Leaders Program on in July. I need to just get the date here. Okay. I think we're going to be able to share that with you such that you are able to join in. We'll be able to give you the details on how you can be part of that program, especially for those that are transitioning out of university, such that we can be able to help you. We are always available. I'm on LinkedIn, and you can be able to find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on X, on TikTok, everywhere you go. Thank you, and over to you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Coach. For everyone that has joined in, your presence has really meant a lot. We really don't take it for granted. Just as Coach Samuel has highlighted that we're having future programs. We're having future programs that are going to be encouraging us, that are going to be helping us. Let's just remain connected through our socials, the LinkedIn accounts, Instagram, TikTok, and everything. Actually, surprisingly, I met Coach Samuel on TikTok. You can just imagine all that connection from TikTok up to now. I really don't take that for granted. So let's use our socials in the best way possible so that we can take our careers to the next level. Thank you so much. Let's have a closing prayer and we call it a day. Loving Father, King of Glory, we bless your holy name, O God, for this wonderful session. Thank you for the insightful discussion that we have had, and we believe that it will bear fruit. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we have prayed. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely evening, and may God bless you, and may we keep connected. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.